Today, the House of Representatives passed H.R. 2, the Invest in America Act, but I have another name for it. It's the My Way or the Highway bill. Instead of passing a bipartisan bill that would rebuild our nation's crumbling infrastructure and make targeted investments in our communities, Speaker Nancy Pelosi chose to turn H.R. 2 into a Green New Deal wish list. Traditionally, this transportation measure is very bipartisan, not under this Speaker. Not a single Republican voted for the $500 billion piece of legislation when it passed out of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. In fact, we have two Arkansans as hardworking members of that committee, Mr. Crawford and Mr. Westerman. That initial bill reauthorized surface transportation programs for 5 years at significantly higher funding levels. And as it relies on the general fund transfers to pay for it, instead of addressing the Highway Trust Fund's ongoing solvency issues. After the markup, that is, after the committee's work is complete, surprise, surprise, another $1 trillion in various proposals were added to the bill, many of which never went through the legislative process, aren't even expiring for a few more years, or reversed bipartisan issues that had already been negotiated for progressive priorities. Speaker Pelosi has once again favored the progressive far left of her party over bipartisanship by including Green New Deal mandates on nearly every program. This will increase costs and red tape for our states and localities that rely on federal infrastructure dollars. By taking away local control from state and local leaders, this bill reduces flexibility for states and non-federal partners to meet their own unique infrastructure needs. House Democrats' top-down approach limits flexibility for our states and their non-federal partners to accomplish the projects and infrastructure priorities of their communities. This bill also ignores broad support from labor and business leaders for streamlining the project review process and putting in reasonable limits and timetables that still preserve the important environmental protections. Further, this bill favors urban centers over infrastructure needs of smaller communities and leaves rural America further behind. Despite claims to help rural infrastructure, following the money demonstrates H.R. 2's preference for programs and policies that prioritize urban communities over rural ones. House Democrats believe that a $250 million Build Our Rural America fund is helping rural America, when the bill also has a $2 billion gridlock reduction grant program that only has the top 10 metro areas' ability to qualify. This is just one program example out of many that prioritize urban America over rural states like Arkansas. This is the time for Republicans and Democrats to come together and negotiate a bill that helps the infrastructure needs throughout our country, rather than a far-left progressive wish list that hurts Arkansas and frankly wastes our time because this bill has no chance of becoming law.